Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everybody. It is another episode of DECRYPTED. It is raining apparently in Portugal, specifically in Stan's office. Bro's going to be getting his head very wet. Welcome to another episode. I do apologize for being off last week. I was dealing with some very bad illness. I was sleeping on the sofa. It was bad. But I'm back. And we are ready to have some fun. We're going to be going over some really, really cool stuff this episode. And this week, we have Fed rate cuts. We're going to be talking about this awesome talk that Vitalik did with regards to privacy. Alongside that, we are going to be giving our 2026 predictions, which is going to be scary. And we're all going to be held accountable. I don't know, maybe should we do a bet? Like who gets the closest one gets to be like, CEO for the day, because I feel like I could make some very interesting decisions.
What if you're the furthest away? Then what happens?
you got to be the guy's intern for a day. You just got to be straight up intern. But before we kick everything off, Jack, you have a little bit of a update with regards to SKL that you wanted to go through.
We'll hit that later in the show. Like, we're going to talk about the SKL token. We got a big juicy update, so
we'll hit that.
Yeah,
I like getting it. Yeah,
stick around
to find out. But as always, with me, Mr. Stan Kladko. We'll start with you this week. How you doing, man?
I'm terrible, actually. Terrible. I'm incredibly terrible. I got this virus, influenza A, and like I woke up on Thursday. I wanted to start working, and then I feel this pain in my nostril, and I actually ordered. I thought it was maybe like COVID. So I ordered this test, which is pretty good actually. You can order tests immediately. I ordered it from Uber, and so I ordered test, and the test is actually COVID plus influenza A plus influenza B. It turned out to be influenza A. And I'm like, okay, that's probably not going to be so bad. It turned out to be terrible. I was like, maybe it was the same thing you had. I don't know. But I had a terrible, 4 days. I was literally had fever, all kind of shit. And then I was watching really interesting video, by the way. Warren Buffett's, a digest. It's on YouTube. A digest of Warren Buffett's and Charlie Munger's annual shareholder meetings, all kinds of wise things about investing. So I was basically having fever and watching these videos. But now I'm okay. Actually, the first day I'm okay today. Yesterday I still was really bad. So guys, if you're living in Europe, turns out that there is this very aggressive strain of influenza A, and it entered Portugal 2 weeks earlier, and it's very bad. Actually, some people are dying literally.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's a very aggressive strain. So be careful. Don't just stay at home. Just don't go to work.
You know what? My daughters had to shut down because they had so many kids. They had to shut down for 2 days. So many kids had novovirus.
Oh,
which is a horrible. I feel like I think I've gotten it 3 times. Each one of my kids, when they've gone through preschool, somehow get this, and it is just horrible. But there's some bad stuff going around.
Yeah, just stay at home. Then
is there a good vaccine? Is the vaccine work for influenza A?
I think there's actually the problem is that I know because I used to be I was never investor in crypto, but I used to invest in biotech, so I know lots of things about biotech. And there is actually a pretty good drug against influenza A called Tamiflu. The problem is that you need a prescription, and it only works 48 hours. When it starts, you have to take the drug 48 hours, and then it otherwise becomes ineffective. So the problem is that it's impossible. Actually, in Ukraine, I could do it. I would just go and buy it. In Turkey, I could do it. I would just go and buy it. In Europe, in the States, it's pretty much useless because it's so hard to get a prescription. Then it takes time, and by the time you get it, it's just. So this is an example of how when you have these regulations are supposed to be good. It's supposed to be that drugs are people shouldn't be able to like use drugs without doctors, but in reality it's terrible. It's just like Orwellian thing where there's a drug, you're not able to buy it.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so that's the only drug. Other than that, if you have influenza A, things that help, there's like zinc. There is like a metal zinc, which slows pretty much any virus. So you can take zinc supplement. It helps a little bit to slow down the virus. So that's pretty much it.
And then on the flip side, going to the American side of the earth, they give you drugs for everything. Hey, Jack, how are you?
I'm taking zinc. I'm on the zinc. That's for sure. Actually, the zinc works. I'll give that. Like
it works, yeah.
It actually helps your immune system, and it's good for your like all sorts of body indicators. Like it's good for.
Yeah, I need
for testosterone. It's good for, I think, a bunch of other internal biometrics. Anyways, all right, we're rate cut. What do you think, Falcor?
I think it's going to be cut, but I think that it's weird. I don't think they want to cut it, but I think they will. I don't think we're going to see any in January. I think this is going to be, my personal opinion, I think it's going to be the last one for a couple months. I think what you're looking probably 0.25 again, normal 0.25. But I mean, there hasn't been any massive kind of propellant towards a cut versus what there had been. So yeah, a little confused from what I've seen. Looks like it's going to be cut. I mean, let me check Polymarket. They always know.
Yeah, Polymarket right now 97% odds of 25 basis points.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is going to be announced today at 2:30 Eastern US time, 11:30 Pacific. What time is that over in your guys' time?
Okay. 7:30 UTC.
7:30. Okay. So, but hey, like again, why is this such a big deal? It just massively impacts markets. It massively impacts global liquidity. One interesting thing is that, these things are becoming less of a surprise and so what happens is people buy the rumor and sell the news. So sometimes it's a counterintuitive thing. Like the rate's going to go up and then Bitcoin will drop because it went up a few days ago because people expected this. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. The other thing that I've heard, and just like I've been, studying this in the last, I guess a lot, but we're going to have to cut rates. There's going to be a rate cut, but it's going to be coupled with a bunch of negative news, negative like messaging. And that's because they want employment to go up, but they don't want inflation to go up. And if the markets go up too much and get too frothy, inflation goes up. Okay. And inflation goes up already when you essentially lower rates, but jobs are going down. And so they have to increase the rates. So I think there's going to be a lot of this like very bearish sentiment delivered. I'm actually going to watch it. I'll put a link here. I found a link to the live stream. I didn't realize they live streamed it on YouTube. So I'm going to actually watch it today. But it's unbelievable how these investors hang on every word Jerome Powell says. That like, oh, he said this. Oh, and the prices are going all over because he's saying one thing about rate will be potentially cut later. But Stan, what do you think?
I was actually like when I had this fever, I watched pretty interesting new interview of Elon Musk. I recommend you guys watch. He's crazy but smart, Elon Musk. And so one interesting piece of the interview was like deflation because of AI. I mean, and so the person that interviewed him asked about deflation and when it was going to start. And Elon Musk prediction is about like 3 years from now, it's going to be massive deflation. And this massive deflation, I agree with him, is going to like push probably the government to keep interest rates zero for like 100 years, if not make them negative or like throw money from helicopters, because it's going to be basically people like massively having unemployment. So I think long term it's unavoidable.
Unpack that more, Stan. How does deflation happen? Is it just because people don't have jobs and the government's going to have to try to deflate?
basically the way deflation happens usually, if not, now it's good because there's no like that everything is good. The moment a little bit of a recession starts, right, in the US, companies will realize that they can fire lots of people. They're not doing it now because things are good. The moment the recession starts now in the US, there will be huge, because of AI, there will be huge opportunities to like cut people, and there will be huge cuts. And when these huge cuts happen, what's going to happen is that these people are going to get really scared. They will stop buying. They will think they need to like keep money because they don't have employment. They will like start cutting like Netflix, cutting Starbucks, cutting all discretionary spending. And so the consumers will be like freaked out crazily. They will stop actually buying anything except like, like whatever, like
more
food,
robots.
robots. And then basically it becomes like a spiral where no one's buying anything. It can be like literally like a Great Depression. And the only way to fight this is to print money and keep on giving it to people literally until they start buying something. So usually during this type of things, the government keeps on like printing money. To print money, you need to like put zero interest rates, so people like start borrowing. But even more, there's like this thing called quantitative easing, when the government basically like just gives money to people, right?
Yeah.
Because it may not be enough to have zero. Like in Japan, interest rates have been negative for like for decade, and still the economy, because Japanese are super frugal. That's the worst thing that about Japanese culture from the point of view economy. They just don't buy anything. Remember, like I was in Japan like 5 years ago. It's amazing how frugal Japanese are.
They don't use credit. Everything's like debit oriented. Yeah, it's like they're just very financially prudent as a culture.
Yeah, and it's, you would think that's fantastic to be financially prudent as a culture. Turns out to be terrible. Because these people like spending money. Americans spend money. They take loans. They cannot prepay loans. They
also like having kids, right? They don't have
right. They just spend money they don't have. And the economy, U.S. economy is fantastic. That's
there's like two things that are really counterintuitive, right? They don't spend money. You think that would be good for the economy? They, like, wow, they have all these big savings, and then they don't have a lot of kids. Okay, good. There's like, but it's both those things are hurting them dramatically.
Yeah.
Their population is like going down massively. They're not allowing a lot of other people in. Like as soon as this working group like ages out, they're going to have like a third of the people supporting 2/3 of the people who aren't working.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? And so basically, that's how like I think deflation is going to happen. And then so coming back to Elon Musk interview, one thing which is critical for crypto, I think, which not everyone realizes, it's about also predictions, is that when interest rates go down to zero, stable coins. This is the business model of stable coins, is that they make this like whatever 3%. So I own stable coins, you own stable coins, you don't make this 3%. The stable coin companies make this 3%, and that's their business model. The moment interest rates go down, there will be way less stable coins because they will make less money. Their money is the interest rates, because right, they do like the short-term investments of into treasury bonds, basically. So what we're gonna see when this is happening is that people will move away from stable coins, maybe back to the market. So it may be that what's going to happen is that there will be deflation, and the stable coins won't be so profitable anymore, and people who own stable coins will have to find some other way to make money in crypto, which is kind of going back to the market.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's going to be interesting. I think definitely. I mean, 25 basis points, pretty clear. I'm guessing it's going to happen. And then, like also probably a bunch of negative sentiment. By the way, there's a cool prediction market going around right now on Polymarket that's what will Powell say during the December press conference, and inflation 40 plus times is at 80% odds, and he'll say good afternoon 96% odds. Gotta love prediction markets.
Do you think they see these? Do you think they see these and they're just like, they'll just be like, they'll wait for when it's at like 99.9% and then just not do it. Like, just don't say good afternoon. Like could you get in trouble for that? Like, you don't have to bet on it yourself. But can you bet on it if you're the predictor?
I don't know. It's like almost like a professional athlete can't legally bet on themselves or do things to manipulate games. It's against the law. Is it against the law in America? Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh. I mean, you go to like athletes will go to jail and get like kicked out of their sport forever. You can't. Yeah, like if a soccer player misses a goal. I don't think it's illegal. I don't think it's illegal. Wow. They just get fined and banned. Like, they can do it because I mean, we've had so many play like Tenali, right? Like, was banned for a year for it. Like a couple, like 2 years ago. But he didn't go to prison or anything. He just got kicked out for. Maybe it depends on how as well. I mean, federal law. In the U.S. there's the Sports Bribery Act targeting gambling related corruption. And there's antitrust laws, and then there's like, maybe it just comes down to, anyways, just don't, you can't, like, I wonder if the same thing holds true. Maybe it's some antitrust law or something. Yeah. I guess it'd just be insider trading, right? Like you're investing or buying. Yeah. I guess if the prediction market is more trading than betting, then maybe it's insider trading. Mm.
And if you do, just don't get caught. Rule number 2. Rule number 1, never do it. Rule number 2, if you do it, never get
don't get caught.
But you know what? Actually, you know what happened? Brian Armstrong was giving a live interview, Coinbase's CEO, and apparently there was a thing on Polymarket that said, will he say one thing at the end? Mm-hmm. And he intentionally said it to trigger the market. Right. Even though I bet he didn't have a bet involved or anything, but he did, like, he actually saw it and then did something. Then like everyone joked that he did it. So like these people are seeing these things and it's influencing their behavior. So it's not always correlation. It's not always it's correlation. It's causality.
There was this one, and I saw a clip of it, of this Twitch streamer called Oni Pixel. And there was like this thing where it's like 90% chance he won't vape on stream because he's a vapor, but he's never vaped on stream before on Polymarket. And he was like, why don't I just pull my vape out right now and just vape? Because the first time he'd seen it, he's like, say goodbye to all your money. And it's like, well, what are you gonna do? Like,
oh man,
good times. So are we all in agreement? 25? I've seen some people talking about 50.
50 has got pretty low odds on Polymarket, and frankly, I trust Polymarket. Anyways, let's see what happens. And hey, let's go. Next topic. We got 4 topics.
We got four cool topics. Okay. Next, let's talk about Stan. Why don't you intro on this one? Vitalik did an interesting conversation talking about privacy. Why don't you kick us off?
It's great. I think we've been like working on, well, definitely the leader on privacy. I mean, the problem is the market is kind of crap. But other than that, by far, we have the best solution now. And we discussed it last time, but basically we have X402, we have encrypted token, everything is encrypted. You can pretty much like run any apps and any Solidity stuff. And you basically, it's all secure. It's a pretty good solution that we got with all of the cryptography. It's not like snake oil. We have lots of tech inside, right? We have the consensus, the cryptography, all of really hard stuff, but we're actually able to do it. So we're happy that people are realizing the confidential and privacy thing now. I think our stuff is by far the best and the most useful. And so we're working hard to put it on SKL. I think we need to ultimately make sure all of the SKL like chains like have the privacy and confidentiality features. It may take us some time, but it's absolutely clear. I think we've been for a while in a bit of an indecisive situation where we thought, okay, maybe it's MEV, maybe it's privacy. We see that MEV is great, but we see that privacy is stronger. So we're a little bit adjusting, I think, in terms of SKL byte 1 becoming SKL byte 1 and byte 2, and then providing this private chain. I think it's just for our engineers, it provides lots of boost because people understand that it's needed. So I'm really happy. I mean, I just like watching this interview with Vitalik. I think Vitalik is saying exactly the correct thing, and I'm happy that he's actually getting on this private. I think he's getting on this privacy, train pretty much 100%. So I was really.
I got a question for you. What is Vitalik's perspective on privacy as it relates to like governments being able to like see information when they want to see it? Is he like a total privacy purist? Like we got to make it like Signal, like no one can even get into, or is he like Scales wants to do privacy so that, hey, if the FBI comes, they can still get information. So, you don't want to end up like Tornado Cash guys, right? Like
that's actually yeah, that's fantastic because what you guys can watch this interview yourselves, but what I digested from the interview, what I'm really happy about is Vitalik is sort of getting more like adult. He used to be like a child genius. Now he's an adult genius. And so what I really liked about this is that he's getting more like wise and trying to find a balance. And I'm really happy about this stuff. So if 3 or 4 years ago, Vitalik would actually be more like, which was good, but he was more like idealistic and saying, okay, let's like use ZK to basically like encrypt everything. And so it was a problem with very strong encryption, but also not feasible for users because using of it is hard. I think he actually is now is becoming way more like balanced person, I think, balanced scientist. And that's actually really good. I think pretty much you guys can watch the interview.
What is he saying then? Does he what does that translate to? Does he want privacy to like governments to be able to see stuff or?
I think he understands, yes. I think he understands the need. And he talks about this specifically now that, it has to be privacy within the legal limits of whatever country or whatever. And it's an important, I think, because I think he understood this like crossing the chasm thing that you need to have something, and it's good for us, I think. So I'm really happy. I think the more the market picks up a little bit, we're going to see lots of people using our, the SKL private chain. And ultimately, we'll move all of the SKL chains will be private and all of the features will be there. So I think at long term, we're really doing really well. And so this tech is really needed.
Stan, one more question for you. So I've noticed that a lot of privacy efforts are trying to just encrypt the sender and receivers, but you could still go and like, I guess like look up addresses and see balances and stuff and maybe not see activity. I don't know exactly how peeling the onion back. Then you have what we're working on first is actually just completely hiding balances. Because then if you know A or B, who cares? You don't need to hide the sender or receiver as long as the balances and the quantities are hidden. And so my question is like, what new use cases come when you can hide balances? Because I personally think blockchain is going to change massively into more mainstream. What do you think? And also, did Vitalik address any of that? Have you heard him talk about any?
Specifically discussed the Starbucks coffee. I think he likes Starbucks. So he specifically discussed the Starbucks case, which we have been discussing for a long time on this show. And I think it's kind of the Starbucks case is kind of a very simple way to explain it. I think that's really the focus. Both small payments of humans and machines. That's by far where this thing is needed because it's one of those things where it's not like you care so much if your Starbucks purchase gets uncovered or whatever, decrypted, but it's kind of you won't use the solution because you need to match a credit card. Essentially, the one way to understand it very simply, it needs to match credit cards in terms of privacy, which is by far, credit card privacy is commercial. It's not perfect, right? But it's good enough. So you need to match credit card privacy, and then you win by the other strong points of blockchain, which is being able to use anywhere in the world, and also not failing, because the number one problem about credit cards is like failing all the time. So just match privacy of credit cards, and then and then you have ease of use, not ever failing, being able to pay internationally, like all of these great things. But I think like to make it really simple, you need to match the credit card. It's kind of the time has come to attack the credit card. It has been there a long time, right? The credit card, like 50 years, whatever.
Yeah, and there's no way. And here's a weird thing. I think crypto people are going to have a real issue at first when you can't go see balances or transactions, because there's such a habit of like being able to go to Etherscan and see all of this stuff happening for other people. And like, oh, who did they send it to? And you, and like a lot of these use cases are built around transparency of quantities. But what that does is it limits other use cases, because I don't want the barista to know how much money I have. Okay. Right. I don't want, my neighbor to know how much money I have or don't have, or what I bought, whatever the situation is. If I have to send my neighbor 10 USDC, right? I have to send friend, $50 for a ticket to a game. Like, yeah. And so I just feel like there's going to be a little bit of this shock for a while, like where the old things don't work exactly as they're supposed to with privacy, because they're like used to seeing a bunch of information. They can't see it anymore. But all of a sudden there's all these new things you can do. And there's going to be this transition period, this like chasm crossing. And anyways, man, I'm excited because we're going to have the first version of this ready. It's going to go into testing in a few weeks, right?
Yeah. We have like pretty much everyone is working on it. It's just so exciting, and I think maybe I am gonna sound a little crazy, but I think next year all of the blockchains that don't have privacy will die pretty much. I mean, definitely Ethereum will not die because it has use, but there's no use for other blockchains. So why are so many of them like on CoinMarketCap? They're doing nothing, and so they're not private, and they don't have users. So you will probably see like they'll probably like die. Like there will be a Darwinian extinction, I think, next year, because otherwise, the only way for them not to get extinct would actually for people to start using them, because no one using them.
Okay, so yeah, don't give too much yet. We got to save the predictions. We got predictions.
Okay. Oh.
In 10 minutes, we got to kick the prediction. Okay. So 2026 predictions. So save that. I got a take on that too. That's pretty similar, but different from yours. And, okay. What, by the way, what else do we have to talk about, Falcor, other than,
you wanted to do a little bit of an update on SKL?
Yes. SKL. And we got to do predictions.
We're going to do
we have one more? Or?
No, those were the four.
Okay. All right. So a lot of people are asking about SKL. What happens? Like when you go to the Scale website, we're talking about privacy. We're talking about agents. We're talking about expanding into base and other areas. Well, the cool thing is that the more we expand and deploy in other networks and other blockchains and other places, is that it's more utility for the SKL token. Okay. And so all of a sudden we have this credit payment thing where devs can go buy $50 worth of gas fees and get like, what would be $500 worth of base gas. But they have to go buy Scale tokens and then buy that. Okay. If they buy in USDC, then there's a contract that then will immediately go buy Scale with it. But then what happens? We have all this Scale in a wallet that people use to pay. Well, there's going to be a proposal that comes out really soon where 50% of that is burned. So someone buys $10,000 worth of SKL, gas credits on the Scale on base chain. Guess what? 5,000 gets burned immediately. Now, why 50%? So, hey, everyone's going to be able to weigh in on the forum. Well, frankly, it's a big number. It's not meaningful, but it's also, we don't know the right number. It's probably going to change. Maybe it's 60-40, 80-20, but which direction? When you start 50-50, it gives us a lot of latitude to shift, and it's a meaningful number. So it's basically the safest bet. And I think some people are like, oh, let's only burn 20%. Some people say, let's burn 80%. Well, everyone can kind of agree at 50%. And then as long as we agree that, hey, let's be ready to change this as needed over time. Stan, you want to address any of that?
Absolutely. I think we've been searching for the economic model, for a better economic model for scale, and it's incredibly important for us. And it's not so easy to do because the market is pretty bad, right? But so we've been, as we discussed, we will started with MEV. MEV is good, but the market is so bad. So we needed something, just it adds stuff to MEV, because a scale byte 1 is MEV, right? Resistant, but we needed to have something else. And we came up with this privacy way earlier than others, and we solved the privacy thing. Now Vitalik is talking about. Now everyone is doing it. But I think it's like our current direction is that a scale economic model is to, as you just said, Jack, basically people will pay for using private and confidential chains, and our chain is the only one. I mean, no one will have a similar thing for a long time. They don't have capacity or technology to do it. So that's where we focus.
They're limited. They have privacy tokens, like, I can go use Zcash on Solana, and then that's private. But that's not like, you're very limited then in what you can do. You can't send stable coins. You can't send.
Our stuff is like making like regular Ethereum thing private, right? You're not really introducing Zcash is great, but it's like a different technology. Our stuff means that you keep on using the same Solidity, whatever stuff. It's the same ecosystem as Ethereum, but private and confidential.
Yep. Yeah. Awesome.
It's gonna be good, I think. I hope 2026 is gonna be good.
It's going to open up a lot of potential new business opportunities, I think, right? From an adapt to an application level, and even, I remember me and Sawyer were playing around with peer-to-peer data transfer on chain, right? You want it to be encrypted.
Yeah.
And with Byte, you can do that, right? Send a document, send a video, send a photo, fully encrypted across the blockchain, and that's all possible.
Us and Vitalik are the only people that talk about this. Others, I don't know what happens to us, other people. Literally, where's the industry, guys?
And Mert's talking about it a lot.
Okay,
He's talking about it all day long. But us, Mert, and Vitalik. There we go. Good, good privacy company.
The blockchain is not only tokens. I feel like is a narrative that is missed at times. Is a technology that can be used for a multitude of different things.
All right, hey Falcor, I got another quick announcement, something to address that's interesting, and then we got to roll into predictions within 5 minutes or earlier. So I just saw that on Twitter as I was looking here, seeing if there's any questions people are coming up with, but. Master just flipped Amazon in trading volume, which is huge. And I met Michael Saylor in New York when I got to go on right before Trump at the Blockworks permissionless conference. And anyways, it was he's a really nice guy. He's really sharp, interesting guy, but their stock has really gotten crushed in the last couple months. And so it's interesting to see that pick up. And anyways, I think that's sometimes a good leading indicator, because guess who's been dominating the market? It's AI oriented equity products, right? Like Amazon. And the fact that Master, MicroStrategy, just flipped Amazon in trading volume today, that's nuts.
What do they know?
That is nutty. I don't know what's going on. I mean, sometimes there's just people, playing games with each other. People shorting, get squeezed, all these, it's stuff happens in these trading markets that's frankly, beyond fundamentals sometimes.
Above my
I think it's an indicator that Kathy Wood too with ARK Investment was saying that there's going to be this there's so much squeezing that's going to happen on Bitcoin related assets after the rate cut. And maybe we're already starting to see it.
Yeah, it could be an interesting time. December, eh? Yeah, December into January. Always scary.
Predictions.
Okay.
Go for it, Falcor. Guide us.
So let's do some guiding. I'm still not 100% So obviously myself, Jack, and Stan have a little bit of a conversation before we start. I can't remember if me talking about the bet was before the show started or after. Does anyone remember?
You guys are both on all your medications. Why don't I kick it off?
Does anyone remember if I anyway?
So there's no bet. There's no
Okay.
bet. We're going to give a couple predictions. The first one is like, what the hell is going to happen with the crypto market in 2026? And we're not trying to predict the price of Bitcoin, but just general macro, like what's happening with the market. I think, Stan, you were on a really hot topic earlier. Like, I think you should go back and like, what's going to happen? There's this extinction event. What's going to happen?
Because I'm the CTO of SKL, right? So it's my job. I need to predict. And so basically, the market is dead, right? The tech part of the crypto market is dead, and so the question is, when it starts, getting alive, what is the way for it to get alive, right? And I think what's going to happen is that there has been always this problem that projects have like tokens, they sell tokens, and then at some point tokens like Ethereum, for instance, right, don't have much money anymore left because they don't really have any money coming. So Ethereum Foundation sells tokens. So and then at some point there are no more tokens. So they don't have much money then. Mm-hmm. And so someone needs to break this model. Someone needs to find the economic model which is sustainable. And I think that's something that's going to happen. So first of all, privacy, and then second, the sustainable model, meaning you have to have users. A user need to pay, and if you have users paying for anything, then if you're thinking about like just a solution, you don't really care. You could like have a chain, maybe you license your open source, so maybe you do consulting, or maybe you sell software. This Darwinian extinction will force people to survive. And if you survive, you actually need to do like crazy moves to make money. So that's probably going to happen. Some people will just die. They just won't even try. And most of them are not even trying, right? So, but people that will want to survive, they will have to produce something that users need, which is privacy, I think. And then it has to be, the business models will also be whatever brings money. People will like do consulting, do open source, do like licensing, whatever, charge for this, charge for that. So I think there will be this absolutely new economy, which will be more conservative, traditional crypto economy, where suddenly, and then if you have the money, you can just take some of this money and burn tokens. That's the way I feel. I think once someone finds an economic model that brings lots of money, if you have then a token, you can just take this money or some portion of it and just burn it. So that's how I feel. I think it's actually going to be good because, the current, what we have currently is like all of the tech stuff is dead and there's no one doing anything. Like people are depressed. And then you have all these meme coins. But meme coins are also I read today about some meme coins on Solana. They're crashing and stuff. People are getting tired of them. And so there will be a new market catalyst for things to improve. I believe.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I'll jump on that too. And I'm going to give so I was just on a call right before this with a guy who runs, I think, a $10 billion family office. He runs the investment group. Someone who I know from, who's in Europe anyways. And this guy said to me, he goes, tell me, you talk to all the institutional people, they say this whole mid-market, alt market, all this stuff is dead. The only thing that's going to live in crypto is Ethereum or Bitcoin and maybe Ethereum. I was like, listen, the obvious perspectives are usually wrong. Okay. Because that's how markets work. Okay. If the vast majority of people think, oh, this thing's going to happen later, well, usually, then there's no asymmetric advantage. There's not, these billion-dollar, trillion-dollar secrets are because someone knew something someone else didn't, right? Now everyone's like, oh, let's buy Bitcoin. But, in 2013, when it was $100, not many people were buying it, right? And not many people held it either. So, anyways, I'm talking to him and I said, here's my take is I think we're really there's always going to be this group of speculators, people that, you know, they don't make enough money to go just buy Ford stock or Coca-Cola or, you know, the big five, whatever. They want to place bets, you know, hey, they're trying to like change their life situation. But these people have been getting fucked. Like they're getting screwed over by hype machines, by scam artists. Okay. And then what happens is like real builders like Scale, like, you know, trying to bring utility to SKL token, real builders. I know a lot of other great builders, like guys at the Graph, the guys, you know, lots of people that we know that are friends building in the space are getting kind of thrown, like the baby's getting thrown out with the bathwater because frankly, like, you know, and hey, meme coins are just, at least they're not even trying to hide who they are. They're just like, hey, just come bet on this shit. It doesn't do anything, but if enough of us think it's worth something, it'll be worth something. And, you know, I think that's going to get really suppressed, meme coins. That's my prediction. It's not going to be a good year for meme coins at all, other than maybe the top 5. And then this whole category of altcoins that aren't really doing the next thing and getting use are going to die. And so who's going to survive? And I think the market's going to grow, but market share is going to shift massively. And my prediction is tokens and blockchains and products that, one, support privacy are going to do really well, and 2, support agentic commerce, AI agents. I've been doing a lot of vibe coding, really, like, because I think it's fun, and it's fun. You can build a whole product, and I'm doing it to learn because we have to support AI developers and vibe coders, right, at scale. That's our big focus. And as I've been doing this, I've been learning how many integrations there are. Okay, you do this, and then it needs this API key and that API key and that API key. And guess what? We're going to enable all these things. Now I have to go set up and make this payment. Guess what? I'm going to be able to have my agent go set up an account for me, pay for it, pay for what I use. Because you have to run through a lot of shit as a vibe coder or anybody who wants to use an agent. And X402 solves a lot of that. Okay. And so does things like Scale. And, you know, my privacy then enables me to be private as I go do all this stuff. So I think there's going to be a huge shift in the next year into those markets. And I think it's going to be a very optimistic macro market, at least for the first half, for Bitcoin and other things. And by the end of the year, I got to tell you, I don't have any clue. I don't know what's going to happen with Bitcoin. I feel really good the next 6 months. Again, not financial advice. You forgot, you got to mention that at the beginning of the call. Not financial advice, but that's I think we're going to be in a really good place, in a really, really good place for people that are going to where the ball's moving, not the ones who are just, hey, let's hype this stupid fucking thing and try to get a bunch of people to buy it and dump on them. Those guys, that thing's dying, dead.
I think like, you know, when blockchain really started to take off in like the, you know, 2021, 2022, like mass mainstream kind of manner, right? And we saw lots of people kind of playing with the idea. Like, you know, you had Starbucks doing stuff with Polygon, you had Adidas buying out Rect something, that NFT project, right? And they were dipping their toes in. And then 2022, 2023, everybody kind of started to depreciate these areas because they realized, hey, there actually isn't, in this like kind of NFT and, you know, meme coin and kind of like extraction area, right, with no real kind of utility or value, there wasn't a huge amount of areas to expand. But then we looked at 2024 and 2025, and we started to really see large companies, large institutions that properly started to put a bet on blockchain, right? To your point, Jack, Master, they are, how many Bitcoin do they own? Like that's a company that's like believes in the industry. We have ETFs. Like we are not going anywhere. Like I see lots of stuff on Twitter. It's like, the whole industry is just going to disappear overnight one day. And it's like, no, it's just not going to happen. What we're going to see is an evolution. And you are going to see these large companies that come in and begin to really start to find the tech, find the things that are going to make the needle move, and be investing in those companies, right? You're not going to see, thinking of a company off the top of my head, right? Costco, don't know why. You're not going to see Costco go and put $20 billion into Bitcoin because it just doesn't help them. you're probably not going to see them put it into Solana or Ethereum or something like that, because as a technology, it doesn't actually assist them with either selling more products or helping their financial flow and helping their users. So they're actually going to be looking for proper businesses within the industry that have a technology that is going to be beneficial to them. And I think my prediction for 2026 is we are going to see a proper Fortune 500 company either acquire, license, or get in bed with a technology within blockchain that is going to be used for in a mass way, whether that's financial institutions for stable coins, transactions, cross-border transactions, whether that's privacy for banks or your porn and gambling that you guys were talking about last week, right? There's going to be that we will see. I genuinely believe we will see the first company to properly jump in. That is my prediction.
So I think we kind of all agree that the alt market isn't dying. The crypto market's not dying. It's just going to change, and it's going to grow. And if it doesn't, that's how these things work. Crypto is just a weird thing because it's constantly has a barometer for success based off it's being traded all the time like it's a mature asset. Bitcoin's a mature asset. Ethereum is. Lots of other things are just innovations that are constantly happening, but the whole thing is like always under a microscope because it's being traded and speculated on. So it's a unique industry. But I agree with both your guys' takes. By the way, one other little side prediction. I was talking to somebody, one of my, someone at Coinbase who knows a lot about NFTs, and we were talking about it. And, I had this idea. I was like, NFTs are coming back as utility, but they will not be called NFTs. So whoever wants to go start this, like use basically an NFT to have like, hey, I have a badge, I'm a member of this club, or I'm a special fan for Sporting Portugal, right? Or like,
respect.
Whoever's going to create that, you can't call it an NFT.
No.
NFTs have too much baggage, right? There's too much baggage, but you just need to call it some like digitally owned asset or something. DOA, some acronym that makes sense, not DOA, but
probably not DOA.
I don't know. What do you guys think? I think NFTs are coming back, but they're going to have like, no one's going to call them an NFT.
No, you need it to be like, there is this I get actually frustrated with this a lot in blockchain and tech. So apologies to everyone at Scale for what I'm about to say. I hate acronyms so much because I am the guy that's like, just say what it is, like market it up, right? But what is it on the can? Like, so digital collectible. I like that. That's really cool. It tells me exactly what it does. I don't need to call it an NFT and then learn what an NFT means, and it's a non-fungible token, but actually 90% of NFTs are fungible, so it's actually a lie itself. Just call it a digital collectible. But yeah, I agree. We need to stop putting ridiculous mint prices and things like that. You know who did it really well? Disney had these little pins, and I think it was called Disney Pinnacle. I think it's still around. And they were like $10, and you just got these cute little Disney pins. Some were rare, some weren't. You could trade them with each other. You could technically sell them every now and then. But the point was just, to show that you liked Disney. And you could do the same thing with a multitude of different, things. And I'll give a very, very, very small story. Before I actually joined Scale, I got a job offer for Manchester United, the football club. I'm very glad I didn't join because they cut their staff by like 80% the next month. But they were playing around with the pretty much the exact same idea, right? So you card NFTs, right? Digital collectibles where, you could buy and sell moments, historical moments for Manchester United. tickets would be these collectibles. And with how we are all now 99% of the time on our phones and we live on the internet, you kind of just need that your cool stuff. You want to be able to have it on your phone, and you want to be able to showcase it to your friends. So that's the other thing. You need a social media platform that has integrations to showcase digital collectibles as well, like MySpace.
Yeah,
let's bring MySpace back.
All right, we need to give an AI prediction. Dan, you want to go first? What's going to happen in AI this year?
Actually, I think definitely I'm working a lot with AI, with the software side of it, basically developing software. So this one I actually understand very well, and it's very non-speculative. It's real. So AI in software is, we clearly see what it can and cannot do. So it basically removes all of the mundane work and repetitive, but it cannot do creative things. So for software engineers, AI is kind of the best, because essentially you're gonna see. I actually watched this YouTube video from Mark Andreessen and Ben Horowitz from Andreessen Horowitz, and I think they're making this great point about like a billion-dollar startups created by a single engineer, essentially. I mean, an MVP product, that people used to go to Y Combinator and do this like MVP products. Now it can be created by a single engineer, but the engineer has to be smart and creative, not by everyone. But so you're going to see startups that will be created by a single person, very talented, that actually can use AI. And these startups will probably go even maybe through all the seed stage and like Series A, and then with way smaller number of people. So you're gonna see these unicorns with this like small teams. Mm-hmm. I think but it doesn't mean that it's actually AI is gonna do it. It's a misconception thinking that AI can do $1 billion startup for you. No, because it's not creative. If you have an idea for like $1 billion, if you're a software engineer, it can help you. It can speed things up a lot. And I think this is going to be, really, really exciting to see startups like that.
Yeah. I agree. Okay, my take is, I think I'm going to hit it on a few levels. One, we're going to see AI improve in like a high level sense, another 10x. So let's look at like one example. I was trying to create this wine label a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago with ChatGPT. And I just couldn't get it wouldn't even write the words. I'm like, hey, use these words. And it would say Cabernet Sauvignon, it couldn't even freaking write the words you wanted to write, but it would draw some cool stuff, or like you give it an image and it couldn't do anything with an image. It was just, it needed text prompting only. All of a sudden you can give an image, it'll edit this thing, move this thing here, say this exact word. It got at least 10x better than it was in a year, maybe more than 10x. But I think we're going to have like a real 10x growth, because these things just keep getting better and better and better. Sometimes they get worse, actually, and then they get better again. And it's just get ready. And so here's another example. So let's say you're coding something. And like I said, I've been building a bunch of apps for fun. Right now, I'm like, hey, do this. I give it this prompt, and then it does it. Then I'm like, how come it didn't even think to do this? Like, let's say I'm making a little e-commerce store. I made an e-commerce store just for fun, just to see how quick I could do it. And it does this, and it oh, there's a shopping cart. You click the shopping cart. It doesn't do anything. I'm like, hey, how come there's not a cart here? If I'm going to buy something, I need to have a cart. Oh, let me go build a cart. Then it goes to build a shopping cart. So you kind of have to keep telling it each thing to do. But it's just going to get more and more intuitive and start doing multiple things. So again, what does that mean? To Stan's point, I agree. We're going to have some unicorns that not just are building LLM core, but actually build usable products with AI that also use AI, that 5 people work at the company. There's going to be a handful of those. I also think there's going to be huge disruption in entertainment, and it's going to be a crazy year for Hollywood. Stan posted something earlier about there's a TV commercial is AI generated. Get ready. we're going to see massive impact there. Last point, AI is, I think it's going to be robots. So get ready for robots. Like, you're going to start seeing your first friend have a robot in their home. It's not going to be ubiquitous, but here's a cool thing about robots. I'm going to tie it all together. Hollywood entertainment, vibe coding, building things, enabling commerce. Guess what? All of that needs crypto. Okay. People are like, hey, how come you guys are talking about AI? I'm like, these things are, webbed together. So they're so interconnected. You're going to need private payments, high performance, enabling agents and individuals and your robot to buy things on your behalf. So that's where these things come together. And I think we're going to see a huge lift in crypto integration with AI. That's my last prediction.
I like it.
We're not even talking about revolution in porn.
Full deception. Full deception.
I like it, and I think from a creative point of view. So I have recently shout out Sawyer for showing me this GitHub. It's called JSON-based video editing. So React and JSON-based video editing. So what it is instead of doing everything, visually and manually, you can, using, I don't know how it works, React and JSON, you can cut a video, add effects to a video, do absolutely everything that a normal person can do in Premiere Pro or After Effects or something like that. Do it with React and JSON. Now, no one has
an acronym, Falcor.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
React JSON based video editing. Okay.
RJBVE. So RJBVE. But no one's actually taken it and utilized AI yet. So anyone out there, go and build that, please, because ChatGPT and Gemini, they love JSON. You write all your prompt, you want the best prompts ever, you write it in JSON. With this GitHub thing that and it works. You can edit it, and I think we're going to see so many. To your point, Jack, we're going to see so many more advances in media that it's going to be incredible, and we're going to be able to really start to see an expanded enterprise of visual content to consume. So we can all stop paying for Netflix, and we can all stop paying for Amazon Prime and Hulu and HBO and Paramount and all of them. Just make your own stories.
I gotta say it's going to be an interesting year. Probably one of the most interesting years in my life because of everything happening with all this tech.
Yeah.
In terms of change, I think all of our lives are going to change so quick, and who knows what's going to happen with the economy. And I think it's interesting. This deflation thing is interesting. I think there's going to be a lot more jobs created. AI is creating more jobs than it's taking away right now. If you think about especially all these data center projects and construction and, manual labor jobs that have come from it, but we'll see, I think, even more jobs created.
And for scale, guys, I think, what I can definitely predict is that the amount of code that we're going to write is probably going to be record. 2026 is probably going to be by far there will be massive amount of code released in 2026 by scale, because we are doing so much of this privacy and confidentiality stuff and other things, and we're doing the base connection and whatever, you name it. So lots of code that is going to be released. I can bet that it's probably going to be the number one year in terms of the lines of code.
All right. Love it. It's
gonna be fun.
Woo, okay. Good one.
Been a busy week for everyone. And make sure you guys take a look. I think it's an hour and a half now. Fed rate cuts. Let's see what happens. Fingers crossed for 50, because I think we're priced in for 25 already. And we will continue to push push the privacy narrative, continue to push that code, Stan, and keep on keeping on. It's been nearly the end of the year, guys. We're nearly there. It's been a long year, but we will see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for joining us, and we will see you again next time. Good boy.
Ciao, ciao.